All right, everybody, we're going to get started today with our Unravel Travel series. I'm Leslie Coleman, and welcome to our travel tips. Today, we're going to talk about preparing your smartphone for travel and all the things that you need to consider when traveling overseas, particularly having to do with your cell phone. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. We are recording this, so we will share this on our YouTube channel tomorrow. Anyway, let's get started. So for those of you who are new, Suitcase Gals was founded in 2021. We just had our 2-year anniversary, and we are a women-led travel group. We've taken our experience, Gerby and myself, and we put this group together knowing that women travel differently. Unfortunately, Gerby is not able to join us today. She is in the Cayman Islands, and I'm not feeling sorry for her. So when you're traveling abroad, there's a lot of things that you have to consider when traveling, so that you don't have massive charges on your cell phone bill. You're not confused about when you cannot use your phone. And again, we're so used to using our data freely here in the US, but that's not true all around the world. So the first thing you need to do is you need to contact your cell phone provider and ask them what their international plans are. Sometimes they offer a specific package, sometimes they have a daily rate. And that's the first thing you want to start with. Both Verizon and AT&T offer a package which can be limited or unlimited depending on the provider at $10 a day, but you're only using the slowest speeds. You're not using your 4 and 5G, you're using maybe 3G and LTE on your phones. So it does take a little bit longer to connect and use your cell phone efficiently. T-Mobile offers a plan that offers free texting and data, which again is still your 3G and your LTE, but there's no cost for that. So how do you track your data usage? You can go into the settings in your phone, depending whether you have an iPhone or an Android-based phone, and click under the settings and go to data. And you should be able to find how much data you used. The best thing to do when you're traveling abroad, obviously, is to connect to Wi-Fi. Stay on airplane mode so that there's no roaming charges or fees involved. Turn off your cellular data so that the apps that might be running on your phone aren't connecting to the cellular data, which can add up very quickly if you don't have an unlimited data plan. So cellular data is when your phone is using the tower that's closest to you to actually transmit whatever you're sending. Most hotels, restaurants, places of business all have Wi-Fi that you can connect to. Keep in mind that some of these are secure networks and some of them are not. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Also, you can purchase SIM cards from the different countries that you go to and use your phone locally. That means that they'll assign you a number to use while you're in that country, and you would have to go by whatever data plan they're offering. You might probably will be able to call people without any fees, text, things like that. Always check with your provider before you go to understand what your cell phone plan is, because you don't want to come home from a vacation and have a $500 phone bill. Okay, so having smartphones, we all have lots of different things downloaded on them. Some of the apps that you might be using for travel are the airline apps, maps, things like that. You can take care of a lot of your travel needs just by having these apps on your phone. You can check into your flights, find out if your flight's delayed or early, and also have your boarding pass right on your phone. Map of destination. It's really great to have Google Maps because you can download a map of where you're going and actually save it as an offline map. That way you can map out like a walking path between your hotel and an attraction that you're looking forward to seeing. There are other apps out there that allow you to do offline maps. This way you're not burning data, you're not using money that you don't need to spend there. Currency app. I use a currency app called XE. And there's lots of them out there, but you'll be able to get a very good idea of what the currency is in the country that you're going to. That's always helpful. You can see the fluctuation from day to day to see what the US dollar is doing against the rest of the world. Suitcase gals are getting ready to head to Scotland a week from today. And unfortunately, the British pound is not faring so well against the US dollar, or the US dollar isn't faring so well against the British pound. So, we'll be spending wisely over there. Google Translate is a great app to have because when you're in a foreign country, it's nice if you know a little bit of the language. However, if you need to ask a question to somebody in a shop or ask directions, you can plug those words right into the Google Translate, pick whatever language you'd like it to translate to, and then you can let that person listen to your question. Now, it's not 100% foolproof, so, but Google Translate is very good about translation. So with all of our trips, we usually have a destination guide with our itinerary that gives you a little bit of information about where you're going. There are lots of maps, lots of apps that you can find that will give you information about the destination where you are. And that, if you have a free afternoon and you're looking for something to do, certainly you can use those apps to find out what other people in that area have done and get suggestions. Weather apps come in handy no matter where you are. I have mine set to about 8 different places right now. And I've been watching the weather for our Scotland and Northern Ireland trip. It also gives you a helpful way to kind of plan your wardrobe for when you're packing. The weather over there is going to be, a high of 60 and in the 50s most days. So, that gives us a good idea of what we need to pack and, how we're going to bring coats, things like that. Uber is great. It is not in every country, but there's a lot of things you need to know about Uber in the specific country that you're going to. In Italy, Uber is in several of the larger towns, Rome being one, but Uber is not the best form of transportation there. Using a taxi or a local driver in Rome is much cheaper than using an Uber. So just because Uber is really good here and a lot less expensive, check before you go or ask a local if Uber or Lyft or one of those apps does well in that country. We've talked about WhatsApp before in some of our conversations, but WhatsApp is a messaging service, much like iMessage or Messenger on your Android phone, but you can also make video calls and all that. So what you need to do is make sure that you're connected to Wi-Fi when you're on WhatsApp. You can call home and people can call or text you. WhatsApp is very widely used in Europe, and pretty much everywhere around the country, except for the US. But it's always good to have it on there. A lot of businesses in Europe also use this. So if you're trying to call a business or get information about someplace that you want to go, WhatsApp is really great for that. Also, you want to make sure that if you're using WhatsApp or FaceTime or Facebook Messenger, that you let your family know what you're doing. Let them know that I have to be connected to Wi-Fi. So, send me a text and let me know when you would like to talk. That way we can arrange for you to be on Wi-Fi. All right. Your camera is really great for taking pictures, but it's also good for a lot of other things. The one thing that you want to make sure that you have prior to departure is to take a picture of your passport pages, your front and back of your credit card, driver's license, itinerary, copy of your travel insurance, and anything else that you feel you might need during your trip. Now, we always ask people to put them in an album and then mix in other photos with that album, just so it's not the first thing that comes up on your phone when other people, somebody should get your phone. It's also really good to have a copy of those documents that you can keep in the safe at whatever hotel you're in. That way, if something should happen to your passport, driver's license, things like that, you always have a backup plan. All right. So we always encourage people to download their entertainment. A lot of the airlines now have free entertainment. You just plug in your headphones and watch a movie or TV. But what happens when their internet goes out? You're on an 8-hour flight and you're stuck being bored, unless you brought a book. So you can download your movies from Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney, and you can put them directly on your device, whether it's your iPad, some type of a tablet, or your phone. And it takes a while to download those, so you want to make sure that you're doing those ahead of time, because it could take an hour or so to download a movie on your phone. It also takes up a lot of space, so if you have other things downloaded on your phone, other movies or things that you've watched in the past, you want to make sure that you get rid of those before you download something new. Make sure you have your earbuds or your headphones. Number one, makes it easier for you to hear what you're watching, but then nobody has to listen to what you're watching. I've been on many flights where people think they're the only one on the airplane, and there you've got their volume cranked up on their movie or whatever they're watching, playing games with those annoying little buzzing sounds. And that could be very distracting for a flight of any distance. Check your storage availability. Like I said, free up any space so that when you're going to take photos, you have the room for them. A lot of things can be backed up to your cloud. I'm not an Android user, so I can't really speak to how that's backed up, but on the iPhones, you can back up into your iCloud storage. And if you have too much storage, too many things stored on there, you can purchase additional storage space because you don't want to get rid of photos on your phone. The other option is to go with a service like Shutterfly, where you can actually download your photos to there and take them off of your phone. I have my photos backed up to iPhone, Google Pictures. I also have Shutterfly, so if one goes down, I haven't lost all of my photos. And then set your settings so that it automatically backs up your phone. That way nothing gets lost or stolen. And if for some reason you should lose your phone, you would be able to go online and log into your cloud destination and retrieve that information. The same thing goes for when you get a new phone. You always want to make sure you're uploaded to the cloud. That way all your data transfers over when you get a new phone. Okay, chargers, external power bank, and adapters. There's a lot of things that we have to travel with now, just due to phones and things like that. You always want to make sure that you pack your chargers that go with your phone. And the lightning chargers are super fast and can charge your phone, while you're sitting in the airport, and get you back up to full speed before you get on your flight. You also want to make sure you pack any converters that you're going to be needing for your trip. There are all kinds of different converters for different countries, so make sure you do your research before you go buying adapters. A lot of the new adapters now come with USB ports, and I'm hoping that someday soon they'll be coming with the mini USB ports, because a lot of things are starting to head in that direction. You can buy a good all-in-one converter that's good for multiple countries, but definitely double check before you go. Sometimes the hotels will have one if people forget one, but like anything else, people borrow them and don't return them to the hotel, so they may not end up having. External power banks are great. They range in all different sizes, from the size of your phone down to little square boxes about that big. And you can charge those ahead of your trip if you think you're going to be out all day with your phone and you might need that little extra boost. Take one of them with you. They also make solar power banks, which are great if you're in a warm destination that's sunny, and you can have that with you sitting out next to you. Maybe you're eating lunch outside and you want to give your phone a quick little charge. Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about safety with cell phones. I can't tell you how many people lose their cell phones on vacation. I was fortunate enough one time when I was in Curacao, my phone fell out of my pocket in a van, and it fell between the seat and the console. And fortunately for myself, I was able to use the Find My Phone app and find out exactly where my phone was. The driver of the taxi was a young man, and he had no idea it was down between the seats. But we ended up finding another taxi driver who helped us track it down and could find out exactly where my phone was. Always make sure you have a passcode on your phone, especially because you're storing those documents on your phone. You want to have something on there that makes it harder for anybody to access your information. 4 digits are great, but 6 digits are even better. So, make it something that's not your birth date, or something that people can easily access, like not 1234 or 1111. You want to at least challenge somebody if they get your phone with a very good password. Find My Phone feature is great for iPhones. It also works well with an iPad. And literally you can just log in and it'll tell you the location of your iPhone. You do need to make sure that in your settings, though, you have that turned on, so that should you need to find your phone, it's actually set so that it will beep. When you're out and about, try not to leave your cell phone sitting on the edge of the table. The worst place people lose their cell phones is in the restroom. They set them down, and then they get up and leave them. So, make sure you put that cell phone in your purse or your bag when using the restrooms. And just keep an eye on your things all the time. A lot of places are very safe, but it's very easy for somebody to walk by and grab a phone off the corner of the table. Also be careful when you're logging in and out of Wi-Fi. Just because some place has Wi-Fi connections, most of the time they're not secure. So, either have a VPN on your phone, which allows you a little more security, and you can get that through your antivirus or protection in your phones. And also remember to sign out when you leave. You don't want somebody randomly having access to your data on your phone. If you do lose your phone, you can call or text from somebody else's phone. Again, use the Find My Phone feature. And check on your financial accounts, borrow somebody's phone or get to a computer where you can log in and, put things on hold that might be stored in your phone. You can remotely erase your iPhone. It's not the best thing, because you do lose your data. However, if there's no hope of recovering that phone, you may want to take all that information off of there. And, contact your service provider if you have any questions. They're the ones who are going to be able to walk you through the steps and help you to get everything set up. Always when you're traveling, if something like that happens, file a police report. Phones are pretty expensive these days, and you need to file a claim with your insurance. Make sure you file that police report and hang on to that paperwork. All right, we're going to go ahead and take some questions if anybody has any. Just shoot a message here in the chat box. I can only see a handful of faces, but hi, everybody. Any questions? Janice asked if we'll be making the recording available later. Yes, we will post this on our YouTube channel either later tonight or tomorrow. All right. Janet asked, can someone else's phone be used to find my iPhone? Only if it is an iPhone. Because of the features, you would have to literally go to Safari and type in your iCloud and log on that way in order to find your phone. Do you recommend any external power banks for iPhones? I recommend one that is a solar and fairly small. They can be very heavy. So you want to make sure you're not lugging that extra weight with you, because chances are that's going to be in your backpack or your purse or whatever you're carrying around for the day. Amazon has some great ones. I usually go with the ones that they recommend, and I haven't, found anything to be wrong with any of them. All right. Well, buying a SIM. Will buying a SIM card abroad give you both phone line and data? Yes. The SIM card is there. It's just like the SIM card that's currently in your phone, only it's going to reflect a local number for wherever you are. But you do need to ask the provider what the limits are for data, because we're one of the few places in the world It's getting better elsewhere, but that have unlimited data plans like we do. So some people may have so much data per month, but after that, they pay for it. All right. $10 a day is expensive. What do you do if you don't have Wi-Fi? Well, when you're traveling, most of the places that you're going to be will have Wi-Fi either in the hotel, in a restaurant, and you just have to ask where you can connect to Wi-Fi. Even if you may not have Wi-Fi in your room, you may have free Wi-Fi around the public areas. And, you know, worst case scenario, you have to pay a little bit for Wi-Fi, but that's very uncommon these days. I'm missing right here. Has anyone purchased a cheap phone and then bought a SIM card for it, doing this instead of using their phone? I can't speak for myself. I have never done that. I'm fortunate enough that I have T-Mobile and it gets me around the world. But sometimes you can buy like the burner phones in that country. And what I mean by a burner phone is they're the track phones that you just pick off the shelf. It comes with a number and you have a limited amount of use on that. You can certainly do that in other countries as well. And then Doreen says, I did have to buy a cheap phone. The pictures were awful. I forgot to unlock my phone before travel. So I used my phone for pictures and the local phone for texting. All right, did I miss anything here? Is there a separate SIM plan for tourists versus ordinary SIM cards? I don't know that they're necessarily separate, but you can buy SIM cards in different denominations. You can, you know, buy 100 minutes, 200 minutes, whatever it is that you need. And it's just a little plastic piece that you pop out of the plastic that surrounds it, and you pop it into your phone. Make sure you save your SIM card for your phone and that you don't throw that out when you put a new SIM card in. Oh, Janet says, I recommend downloading the Libby app. It's free and you enter your library card number and you can download free books, audiobooks, and magazines. That's a great idea. That way you download those ahead of time, or you can log online on Wi-Fi to download those to your Kindle, your phone, whatever it is that you're using. Jill says, I just got back from Ireland. I have an unlocked phone and bought a SIM at the airport. Couldn't figure out my phone number, but it had 11G data. Well, we're heading to Scotland and Northern Ireland, so any tips that you have to share, please type them in the box. I noticed that a lot of providers now are starting with the 10G 10G service. So I guess it's coming that we're going to have newer and faster speeds. Do we have any other questions? Oh, Jill says that was 11 gigs of data as opposed to 11G. But a lot of the companies now are doing 10G as far as the speed for internet. So hopefully we'll see some improvements to the phones as well. And, you know, better coverage. Any last questions? Awesome. Well, we're going to go over a couple of our trips real quick that we have coming up. and our Unravel Travel series. In May, we're going to be doing safety tips for women travelers. June, we're going to be talking about St. Lucia and how she's different than the other Caribbean islands. And then, whoops, one more back. And then in September, we're going to be talking about airline travel. So we look forward to those coming up. So as far as our trips that are coming up, our Moroccan escapes is March 10th through the 16th of 2024. All of that information is on our website. The deposit for that trip is $500, and the deposits for that are due June 1st, 2023. That trip is filling out pretty good, so I look forward to any of you joining us on that. We also have our Galentines cruise in February of 2024. This will be going out of New Jersey on the Anthem of the Seas. Again, the deposit for this is $500, and those deposits are due by June 1st. We have quite a group going on this cruise, so if you're looking to have some fun over the Valentine's holiday, please join us. We're going to have lots of great activities. And then we have our Canyon Country Adventures, which is our national park tour for 2024. It's going to be June 1st through the 9th, and that trip runs from Sedona up through the Grand Canyon, Bryce Canyon, Lake Powell, and up to Las Vegas. So that's going to be a great trip. Again, all this information is on our website, and we look forward to seeing you guys on our trips. You can connect with us in a lot of different ways. You can scan our QR code here to follow us on all our social media. You can reach us by email at suitcasegals.com. And of course, our phone numbers are here, and they are also on our website. So I thank you guys for joining us today. Check the chat one more time. Jenny says, I'm new to the group. What is the website? I'm going to type it in here. It is suitcasegals.com.
I posted a question. I'm curious. I want to know if all of you travel together and do the sightseeing together.
Yes, we do. Now there is group activities, and then there is time that people have on their own if they want to, do some shopping or, something during the free time. But for the most part, all our tours are group activities. We have included meals. We always have breakfast included in our tours. And usually we have 3 or 4 dinners, during a 7 to 10 day event. We find that most of the time the ladies like to all be together, so they tend to eat together almost every night. So it's a lot of fun.
So the reason I asked is looking for someone to travel with, companions.
Well, what we do is, we will put an email out there saying that we have someone that wants to share a room on a trip. And we will introduce you to people that are in the group. We will never blindly put 2 people together in a room because everybody has their own way of traveling. And we want to make sure that people are comfortable with each other, so that you feel comfortable traveling with them.
Yeah.
We also do some meet and greets before a group travels together. We ended up having a Zoom meeting for our Scotland and Ireland group because we have people coming from California, from Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Delaware, Maryland. So that was the easiest way to meet for that group. But if everybody's local, we do try to have everybody meet at least one time in person before we travel.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I love it.
All right. Janie says she's been to Morocco and it's absolutely very exotic and very safe. Very warm. People are fluent in English and French. Cynthia asks, is the total cost included on the website? Our costs are included on there, but in the notes, it will tell you whether gratuities or travel protection is included or not. Generally, the trip includes everything, like our Canyon Country Adventures, and includes the trip. It includes breakfast. It includes the meals that are put in the outline, all the excursions that we take, all the tours that we take. And that way you can budget, whether you want to add insurance. Airfare is never included because we have people coming from all over the place. So we really can't book that because of the difference in airfare coming from different places. We are always happy to help people book their airfare, but we do not book it for them. Are there single supplements required on these trips or are they waived? It depends on the trip. We do have some trips that we do get some single supplements that are waived. However, a lot of them do have a single supplement. And we try to keep those as low as possible. And that's generally for the hotels. Cruises are not as easy unless we take a cruise that has rooms for individuals. But we do try to keep the single supplements as low as we can. Okay, Jenny was asking for local. We have local meetups, and we have those in the Baltimore area, Washington, Northern Virginia, Montgomery County areas. So you can find those on our website as well as our meetup group. And if you are familiar with Meetup, it is well, I'm sure you are because you all found our link there for this. But it'll also have our local events. We also have Delmarva. If you're down on the Eastern Shore this summer for vacation, you can always find us down here as well. We do meetups throughout the year. And our group is just growing by leaps and bounds. Someone asked, do you join a tour group or does your group travel with just your own group? Our goal here is to travel with just our own group. We have done one tour in the past that was part of a bigger bus tour, and that's not really what we set out to do. So all of our other tours are private and they're only our group. And that's the way we hope to keep it. Okay. Cynthia asked about accommodations. Generally, our accommodations are between 3 and 4 star, depending on where we're going. We strive for the 4-star locations in most destinations, but places like the national parks, things like that, we're usually looking at 3-star accommodations because that's what's available in that area. Also in Europe, their star system is different than ours. And you can find some great, more economical places that are 3-star, but get 5-star ratings. So it depends on where we're going. But we always travel. It's either, if somebody wants a single, they have a single. If not, there's always 2 twin beds in a room when you're sharing. So you're never sharing a bed. Jill, yes, I'm going to get in touch with you and send you the information for Croatia. Gerby is going to be taking that trip, so I will let you know where that trip stands right now. Diane asked, where do you normally put your purse? Floor or back of the chair, like at a restaurant? Since my phone is usually in my purse, just curious. I like to keep my purse and my phone where I can see them. So it might be set off to the side. It might be sitting on my lap. But I like to keep it within sight. All right, let's see, did I miss anything else? Jill asked, how do people sign up for our trips? All that information is on our website, and there is generally a link to connect you to the information for that trip. You just click on more information, it'll take you to our page, and under where it says make reservation, you fill out the form and authorize your deposit, and go from there.
I have a question about purses, actually. Can you hear me? I'm on the phone.
I can. Who is this?
My name's Debbie,
Hi, Debbie.
and are you flying out of Dulles next Tuesday? I am too. I'm going to Italy.
We're actually flying out of Philadelphia.
Oh, okay.
But, you know, we have
All
people.
right. Well, I won't see you at the airport then.
No, it's funny because on this trip, we have people coming from California and Wisconsin, and they all end up in Philadelphia, and we all end up on the same flight going over. So that worked out pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
But you know, I have a Bagalini that I love, but and my cell phone wedges into the outside pocket, but it doesn't zip, right? And you know, I love it. It's a small Bagalini, and I just haven't seen any other one like it that I wear across my body. So I'm just wondering, for small travel purses, but that are big enough to, you know, be very secure, do you have any suggestions? And yeah, because I'm leaving in a week, I'm not doing a lot of shopping, you know, I don't have much time to order online, whatever.
Well, fanny packs are back in style. They come in a series of colors, patterns. You can wear them around your waist. You can wear them crossbody now. Not only are they trendy, but you know, you can wear them in front of you so that you always have your eye on them. We don't recommend people wearing their backpacks on their back because it's very easy for somebody to unzip those backpacks. So again, if you're carrying a small backpack, keep it in front of you when you're in large crowds and places like that.
Right. Well, I see that in New York City a lot, you know, the foreign tourists, but yeah. But yeah, I just haven't found a fanny pack that's the right size and shape. And then if it's going to be that, like I have a fanny pack that I use for hiking, but it's too big and it's not at all pretty to carry for traveling. But, you know, then I need a water bottle holder. So I just wonder if you have, you know, any experience or
Carabiner
suggestions.
clips are always great for water bottles, as long as you have a handle on your water bottle.
Yeah, which I don't.
Jenny said an Eno bag, ENO, is a nice option. I'm not familiar with those, but I will do a little research on those once we get off of here.
Yes, me too. Thank you so much.
Sure. All right, well, we're going to get going today, and I look forward to seeing you guys on our next adventure. If you have any questions, please shoot us an email, give us a phone call. We'd be happy to hear from you, and you know, we can't wait to start traveling with you. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too.